Yeah. Yeah, it was over there last time. What's this? Oh. What it?
Topic. Looked like everybody just putting stout on.
Oh.
Whatever the topic you're going to talk about.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on May the 7th at 9:30. At this time, Pastor Crenshaw, if you would please come up and lead us in an invocation and the pledge, please, from Vine Hill.
I want to thank the court for allowing me to be here today to offer this prayer. Let me read just a few verses of scripture. It says in Proverbs, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and in all you're getting, get understanding. Exalt her, she will promote you. She will bring you honor when you embrace her. She will place on your head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory she will deliver to you. Let us pray. Father God in heaven, as we come together today to open this session, Father, we pray your spirit will be felt here, Father God. We pray for wisdom, Lord, for all the ones who have become public servants, Lord, for this county. I pray, Father God, for wisdom for all that's in this room. And Lord Jesus, we thank you, Lord, that you are still God, still King, and Lord of all. And we thank you, Lord, for this time together today. And Lord, just bless the business session that takes place hereafter. And we just ask, God, your will be done. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We could face the flag. Salute. Pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Greg. At this time, Sam, if you call the roll to open the court.
Vera Sanders. Here. John Logston.
Yes.
Karen Johnson.
Yes.
Brian Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes,
All present.
thank you. Treasurer's transfer report.
Yes, those are dated for April the 30th and for May the 5th, or 7th, I'm sorry, for your approval. I make a motion to accept the treasurer's transfer report.
Second.
I got a motion by First District Magistrate Sanders, a second by Second District Magistrate Logston to approve the treasurer's transfer report as presented. Sam, call the roll.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes,
Sanders.
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. Presentation and approval of all bills.
I make a motion that we approve all bills as presented.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Second District Magistrate Logston, a second by First District Magistrate Sanders to approve the bills as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes,
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. Approval of the minutes from the April 16th meeting of the Bullitt County, regularly scheduled meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by Third District Magistrate Johnson, a second by Fourth District Magistrate Bleemel to approve the minutes of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on April 16th as presented. Sam, call the roll.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes,
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. Have a motion to approve the meeting minutes, the special meeting minutes of the April 26th Bullitt County Fiscal Court meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of April 26th, the special meeting.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Fourth District Magistrate Bleemel, a second by Third District Magistrate Johnson to approve the minutes of the special meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on April 26th. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers.
Yes,
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the April 29th, 2024 special meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes dated April 29th, 2024.
I'll second.
Got a motion by, Second District Magistrate Logston, a second by Third District Magistrate Johnson to approve the minutes of the special meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on April 29th of 2024. Sam, call the roll, please.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Presentations, Anita Stump, Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Judge. I just wanted to remind the court that we have our chamber luncheon this Thursday at 11:30 at Paraket Springs Conference Center, and the speaker is Colonel Ricci. I believe he was the one that spoke here a month or so ago, so I just wanted to remind you all that they're going to have an update for us, and the community. Everybody is invited to that chamber luncheon. It's past the deadline to register, so it'll be $30 at the door, but we would love for everybody to attend. And also our golf scramble, June the 7th. I know a lot of you all have played in it in the past, and we only have 4 teams left, so if you're a golfer and you want to attend our scramble, you better get registered. And you have some information I passed out ahead of time, and I also put for the community, I put some of these flyers on the back bench. It just tells you, this one just tells you what the benefits are of being a chamber member. You all are chamber members. I just wanted you to see the things that you could get involved in. But then the other thing that I wanted to let the community and you all know is we are having a small business resource seminar. It's by the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development. That's going to be at the Central Branch Library on Monday, May the 13th at 9:15. So if you have a small business and you want to come to that, we would love to have you. It would be great if you could RSVP just so that we make sure we have the room set up properly. But they're going to be talking about business resources and incentives offered by the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development for small businesses. So, thank you so much for letting me go first. I hate to be rude and leave, but I have to get to Dutchman's Lane.
How long do you think this will last?
It shouldn't be any more than an hour.
Okay.
And if anybody needs any information, you can email us at admin@bullittchamber.org or call us at 543-6727. Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. There's 4 of you on here want to speak about Stouts Farm. Stouts Farm, we're having a public hearing on that. You can speak in that order, or you can speak now, either way. Robin Gilbert is the only one that's not, well, she's on there about Stouts Farm too. So, okay, it's up to you all, either way. We'll wait, okay. All right, so now we have the first reading public hearing for zoning ordinance 24-07, the text amendment proposing fee schedule change for certain applications and permits. Charlie?
Right, so Planning Commission pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211 held a hearing on March 14th, 2024. Based upon the testimony, the Bullitt County Planning Commission finds the proposed amendment should be approved. And I'll go over those minor changes. The first one is there was a discrepancy between what the regulations classify as a subdivision. Regulations say it's 3 tracts or more. If someone comes in and do a minor plat, the fees currently have it broken down in 2, 3, and 4. So this will match it. If it's 3 tracts or more, it's a subdivision. If it's less than 3 tracts, it's a minor plat. So I don't think there's no change in the fee. It just clarifies how many tracts is a subdivision. The next one is the landscape regulation waiver. The landscaping regulations were just enacted a few months ago. This allows people, and it's just on light industrial and heavy industrial properties. This would allow them to apply for a waiver if they don't feel they should or feel that they can't meet those requirements entirely. I don't expect that one to be used a lot, but it's a weapon. It's a tool that I need in the courthouse. A hearing rescheduling fee, and this is for if anyone misses their meeting, not because of us, they can't make it, they forget, whatever, and it's just to recoup our mailing, postage fees, and that type of stuff. And that's just for $50. A pre-application fee. We do a lot of consultation with developers. Often we spend a fair amount of time on the phone, email, and sitting down in meetings with them, going over plats. We get way down the road, and then it never happens. So this is just a way for us to recoup some of that time and fees that I'm not spending doing something else. And that's it.
Okay. Tammy?
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 24-07, an ordinance relating to text amendment 2024-T-01, amending the fee schedule for certain applications and permits. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said text amendment, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed text amendment is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, that text amendment 2024-T-01 attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference as if set out in full is adopted. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, and the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4. All ordinances and resolutions, to the extent that they are inconsistent herewith, are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 7th day of May 2024, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of May 2024.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone here to speak for the ordinance 24-07 for the text amendments to the Planning Commission? Excuse me. Anyone here to speak against the proposed fees and the text amendments to ordinance 24-07? Hearing none. Charlie, first reading and public hearing for ordinance 24-08, JD Contractors and Landscaping, LLC.
Planning docket 2024 Z05, JD Contractors and Landscaping, seeking to rezone from R1 to IL Light Industrial, located on Brooks Hill Road, parcel 034-00-00-042B, in the unincorporated area of the county. 13.08 acres more or less. Purpose is to have a contractor's shop for lawn care and landscaping company. Comprehensive plan calls for agricultural or rural residential. The Bullitt County Planning Commission, pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211, held a public hearing on the application on April 11th, 2024. Based upon the testimony of the applicants and the proponents, the Planning Commission finds the map amendment is not in agreement with the community's comprehensive plan, but there have been changes in the area. They added the following restrictions. Only lawn care landscaping businesses shall be allowed. The existing stream will remain undisturbed. Existing vegetation will remain undisturbed, and development shall be restricted to the front portion of the property with road frontage extending southward from the west property line. Because of the testimony received at the hearing, the Bullitt County Planning Commission recommends the requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Thank you, Charlie. Tammy?
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 24-08, an ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from R1 residential to IL light industrial. Property in question is 13.08 acres more or less, located at Brooks Hill Road, parcel number 034-000-00-042B, in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zone change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission, in docket number 2024Z-05, is hereby changed from R1 residential to IL light industrial. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, and the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions, to the extent they are inconsistent herewith, are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 7th day of May 2024, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of May 2024.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone here to speak for zoning ordinance 24-08, JD Contractors and Landscaping?
Nick Pergoliasco.
Okay.
Nick Pergoliasco, Barnard, Talbot, and Roberts, here on behalf of the applicant. As was presented at the, in the staff presentation, the main item in this case really related to the binding elements, and that they were proposed limiting the use to only a contractor business, as well as the fact that the stream would remain undisturbed, as well as the vegetation to the bounds of the property would remain undisturbed. So the only portion of the property that would be used would just be the portion to the far eastern side, which would be bound on all sides by commercial. So across the street, commercial, and then it would be actually the light industrial both to the east and south. But with that, I'm really here for questions that you may have as to the proposal, and can kind of go into more detail with anything that you have.
Okay. Any comments from the court?
I do have a question. Is that property between Brooks Hill Road and Griffey that we're talking about? Because I went out there and looked at it.
So it's a 13-acre property. It's just, it's on Brooks Hill Road, just about 3 properties west of West Coral Ridge Road, if that makes there. And it's on the south side of the property. It's directly next to the Wallace Glass.
Okay.
If you directly west of that property. So there, and right now there is a home there with 2 barns. Those would remain, the home would remain as well, and then the barns would be used for the contractor shop business. There would be landscaping that would be required because this would be light industrial next to the church next door, but expected there would be a landscaping requirement to, for a landscape plan.
So is the brick home included in this zoning also?
Yes, yeah. But that is the only portion of the property that would be, per that binding element that was referenced, that's the only portion that would be used. There is a large section that kind of goes west that has a stream that has a lot of vegetation, and that's what is being, a separate binding element would remain undisturbed.
Okay. Yeah. Robin?
Well, I would like to see that undisturbed portion part of the community that is adjacent to the park and public park. And if it's going to remain undisturbed, can we incorporate it where they get roots into our community and support the community with their landscaping business as well? Where that area is right behind community park that you're talking about with the stream and the open area that has been disturbed, I guess you could say. And so I would love to see someone that comes into our community as a new local business owner become part of the community with adding that to our public areas.
Okay. Thank you.
I can address that just simply by saying that what the applicant has agreed to do is not to use 10 of the 13 acres, not to disturb it. Not, the request to donate that 10 of the 13 acres to, but I mean, the point being is that, by remaining, keeping it undisturbed, it addresses, make sure there won't be impact from this rezoning. But we can always continue discussions about things that could be done with that in the future, just not part of this request.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 24-08, JD Contractors and Landscaping? Seeing or hearing none, thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
First reading and public hearing for zoning ordinance 24-09, JD Contractors and Landscaping LLC.
2024 Z06, JD Contractors and Landscaping, seeking to rezone from R1-IL, located at 1107 Brooks Hill Road, parcel 034-000-00-042, an unincorporated area of the county. Size is 0.5 acres more or less, and purpose of a contractor shop for lawn care and landscaping company. Comprehensive plan calls for agricultural or rural residential. The Bullitt County Planning Commission, pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211, held a public hearing on the application on April 11th, 2024. Based upon the testimony of the applicant and no proponents, the Bullitt County Planning Commission finds the map amendment is not in agreement with the community's comprehensive plan, but there have been changes in the area. The following restrictions were added. Only lawn care landscaping businesses shall be allowed. The existing stream will remain undisturbed. Existing vegetation will remain undisturbed. And development shall be restricted to the front portion of the property with road frontage extending southward from the west property line. Because of the testimony received at the public hearing, the Bullitt County Planning Commission finds the requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Thank you, Charlie. Tammy?
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 24-09. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from R1 residential to IL light industrial. Property in question is 0.50 acres more or less, located at 1107 Brooks Hill Road, parcel number in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission, in docket number 2024Z-06, is hereby changed from R1 residential to IL light industrial. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 7th day of May 2024, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of May 2024.
Thank you, Tammy. Any counselor, go ahead.
Nick Prigliasco again. I just wanted to mention that there are two parcels. They will be consolidated, and we had to obtain a consolidated legal description. We weren't able to do that before the public hearing, so that's why you have two cases in front of you. But the properties will be consolidated, so I won't present or address it. But it is the same property, and it will be, become one parcel here as well.
Okay. Anyone else speak for zoning ordinance 24-09? Hearing none, anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 24-09, JD Contractors and Landscaping? Hearing none. Charlie, first reading and public hearing for zoning ordinance 24-10, Stout Farm Brothers, Inc.
Planning docket 2024Z08, Stout Farm Brothers, Inc., seeking to rezone from ag to conservation, located at Deerwood and Etheridge Lane, parcel 054-000-00-019 in an unincorporated area of the county. 96 acres more or less. Purpose is to create a subdivision. Comprehensive plan calls for conservation. The Bullitt County Planning Commission, pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211, held a public hearing on the application on April 11th, 2024. Based upon the testimony of the applicants and/or proponents, the Bullitt County Planning Commission finds the map amendment is in agreement with the community's comprehensive plan. The following restrictions were added. Mobile homes will not be permitted. Lots will not be further divided into less than 3 acres. Widen existing Deerwood Drive by adding a 2-foot gravel shoulder on each side to bring it to a minimum of 18 feet prior to construction of the new subdivision. Maintain Deerwood Drive during the construction process. R1 setbacks will be followed. All homes will meet regulations for R1 zoning, including lot width, and only single-family dwellings will be allowed. Because of the testimony received, the Bullitt County Planning Commission recommends this requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Thank you, Charlie. Tammy?
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 24-10, an ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from agricultural to conservation. The property in question is 96 acres more or less, located at Deerwood Drive, parcel number 054-000-00-019 in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission, in docket number 2024Z-08, is hereby changed from agricultural to conservation. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, Should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4. All ordinances and resolutions, to the extent they are inconsistent herewith, are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 7th day of May 2024, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of May 2024.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone here to speak for zoning ordinance 24-10, Stout Farm Brothers, Inc.?
Morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning, Council.
Mr. Stout, he is the principal of Stout's Farm. I'm John Woolrich, in case you've already forgotten me from the past. I do represent Stout Brothers Farm. For purposes of the meeting, my address is P.O. Box 670, Shepherdsville, Kentucky 41165. Basically, this is a development, a continuation of development in this area by Stout Brothers Farms. About a year ago, we were here to ask for a rezoning of R1 of probably close to 200 acres, which passed. At this point, this is property that is closer to Bardstown Road. Instead of an R1, Stout Brothers asked for a conservation, which would require a minimum of a 3-acre lot upon a development. The R1 obviously can be as small as a 12,000 square foot lot, which is about a 100 by 120. We felt that because of the adjacent properties, which is primarily Deerwood Farms, it's an unplatted subdivision that most of the lots are at least 5 acres, some a little bit less, but they were done back in the 80s. With the restrictions that the applicant agreed to, this property really will be an R1 development because that is part of the request that the Planning Commission put, that the property would be developed subject to R1 subdivision uses. The lot sizes will not diminish. They will still be a minimum of 3 acres pursuant to planning and zoning. Streets will be paved. Will be no gas at this point unless LG&E gets that line run, and then there may be gas here at a later time. Right now, it would be served by North Nelson Water. They acquire their water from Louisville Water Company. If there is sufficient water, they've done main upgrades, so that's not an issue. Fire department, this used to be served by the southeast. Because of its location and the ability of Mount Washington to come straight down Bardstown Road, this is now in the Mount Washington Bar District, so they'll have excellent fire service as well. Also, there's been issues, obviously. We're not using any of the old roads that are off of 480. Primary entrance will be Deerwood, but as this development progresses, there will be a second entrance onto Bardstown Road. That is on property that is the second zoning request, and part of it lies in Spencer County, which hasn't yet been rezoned. But the road can be built and will be built at that time. It will meet Bullitt County standards. Any questions?
In the Planning Commission, was there any mention about that additional road? Any requirements that had been built or anything before they made their vote?
That was addressed, and Mr. Stout this time said that he couldn't make that an absolute request because of the topography and how the property will develop out. It may well be, dependent on what the future holds, that area may be built first. And if it is, then Deerwood Drive would not be used until the 96 acres gets done. But at this point, it's anticipated that Deerwood would be the primary entrance, but once it goes, there will be roads that will feed out, so there'll be 2 points of entry on 31.
And the only other thing, I may have more questions, but you said that it will be based on R1 standards, but there will definitely be a 3-acre minimum there to stick with the conservation.
Well, the conservation is basically semi-agricultural. It allows much more uses that other people may find offensive. So with the R1 designation, it will not become a farm, will not have horses as far as a slaughter property, anything of that nature. It's going to be more of a residential development with bigger lots is what it's going to boil down to. The lots may be bigger than 3. Again, topography and how the roads go in will determine the actual lot size, but again, the smallest lot size will be 3 acres that you can build a house on. I think it's also restricted that these are going to be obviously single families. There will be no mobile homes. That was another concession that we made. He does not want double wides or single family mobile homes out there. So modulars would be allowed, but no mobile homes would be developed on any of these properties.
Thanks.
So do we have like a plat or something that we could look at also for this 96 acres?
Well,
or
there
52?
was a rough drawing of a plat
Yeah.
that should have been in your file because it was given to the planning commission.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, there's a larger copy in our office.
Right. And so, my only concern is off Deerwood. Is there a way you could have a construction entrance? So, you know, we just paved that road, I think it was in 21, so, you know, when you start putting, say, 10 dump trucks per house and concrete trucks, then, you know, it's the wear and tear on the road, and it's just gonna, eventually, it's gonna,
Where that property lays, Deerwood is the only entry to this particular site that's feasible. And that was addressed in the planning commission. Mr. Stout agreed before you even started this development work. While you say Deerwood was reworked on, it still is narrow in many places. So it's going to be widened out completely to a minimum of 18 feet. And then he also agreed that as the construction progressed, he would maintain that. So it's not going to be the county's obligation. And accordingly, I've instructed him to basically video this road before he starts construction, or get your road foreman out there and let him walk this road, make sure there's no issues. So when it starts getting built, yeah, there's going to be heavy trucks through there. That's just the nature of development. You can't get them in another way if this one gets developed first. If it gets developed second, well, obviously that road over there will not be a county road until it's built and maintained and accepted by the county.
and the 2-foot shoulders with the gravel, is that approved through the county road system? So,
Well, the county road does, as it is, the county road does not have to be improved through your zoning regulation. It meets your requirement. What we were concerned with was that if it's 16 feet pavement, it needs to be a minimum of 18 hard shoulders. So it will be dug out and it will have shoulders on both sides if necessary to widen it out. In the future, if the county repaves again, you'll have a 20-foot wide pavement with some extra room on the sides.
Mr. Wooldridge, I know sometimes it's often difficult for us to overturn a decision by the Planning and Zoning Commission, but has there been any new evidence, good or bad, that you're aware of since the decision by the Planning and Zoning Commission?
None that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, thank you. Anyone here, any other questions? Anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 24-10, the Stout Farm Brothers, Inc.?
My name's Mike Blackburn. I live on 791 Deerwood Drive. Can I pass something to this body?
Sure.
It is your all's street design standard regulations. So let me start by saying that, and I'll try to do it within my 3 minutes, but let me start by saying that really nobody has an objection to Mr. Stout building a subdivision, adding more population to the community of Bullitt County, and putting in new homes. That's not our problem. Our problem is that Mr. Stout would like to use our road for the new 150-plus residents that will be coming into this subdivision. Now, Mr. Stout and Mr. Wooldridge would have you believe that this subdivision needs the access, and that it's in the best interest of building this subdivision and using our road to get this job done. But since the first meeting that we had in regards to the zoning of that particular property, Mr. Stout has now purchased 2 more pieces of property that surround our subdivision, of which case he has a proposal to build a new road. So the only reason that we could figure that Mr. Stout would not go ahead and build his new road and start his subdivision coming in off Bardstown Road is basically because of money. So Mr. Stout can save hundreds of thousands of dollars in building his subdivision and put it in his own pocket just by using our subdivision's road. Now this will increase, our subdivision currently has 35 homes. This will increase it almost to put it close to 200 going out one entrance. So I think that the bigger reason here is not can we get access from another place which he's purchased. It's more of how much money can I save by using somebody else's access. So I have 3 points to make, and that was the first one. Bear with me just 1 second, because the other one has to do with our road width, which we were just discussing. Now, the road width is still a major planning concern, and according to the Planning and Zoning Commission at their last meeting, made the recommendations that the widening existing Deerwood Drive by adding 2 foot of gravel shoulder to bring it to a minimum of 18 feet. Yet, for Bullitt County, the requirements of a county road is 20 foot. Nowhere in there does it say anything about 18 foot. The measurements off our road come from 19 and a half feet, getting close, all the way down to 15.3. So we've got quite a bit of widening there. The residents, obviously, of Deerwood have great concern of just putting gravel shoulders onto their street, because obviously we have a lot of drop-offs on our roads. Putting in a gravel extension is just going to allow that gravel, when it's hit, to roll down into people's yards. It's going to be something that they're going to have to maintain, to weed, to keep their property looking good. I think any of us that would look at a rock wall at a house that you would purchase would probably say that's not an attractive situation. So going down Deerwood Drive and putting rock shoulders everywhere for a 2 foot extension, which then would meet the requirements of 20 feet, but not in a good condition. So we have great concerns about that being utilized in that fashion. And then, as the Planning and Zoning Commission had asked that Mr. Stout maintain this road during the construction process. Mr. Stout is in the process of developing land. He's not in the business of building houses. So our next question comes from, once he's developed the land, and now we have contractors coming in, again, with dump trucks, with concrete, rock, so on. Who's maintaining the road at that point in time? Is it still Mr. Stout? And who is going to verify that the job Mr. Stout does follows county regulations? Lastly, but not least, we wanted to address the congestion at Bardstown Road and Deerwood Drive. Since our subdivision got kind of chopped a little bit on the extension, our entrance sits at the very top of a hill. In which case, now that Bardstown Road is fairly straight, 75 to 80 mile an hour is the going rate of speed on that road. Us being at the very top of the hill on a pitch where traffic is very difficult to see coming up the hill. Well, you can't see it coming up the hill. It actually has to produce itself right there at that moment when you're pulling out, which is, if you ever get to that point, it's extremely scary in the morning, okay? So adding all of these cars coming out onto this one spot for morning traffic, for all the folks that have to go to work, is going to start putting a lot of pressure on people jumping out and getting into this intersection. We're going to cause a fatality here. It's just a question of time. It's not, is it going to happen? It's just a question of time. So I would ask you guys to take a serious look. I know you don't vote on this today. So within the few weeks that you've got before you vote, I beg you to go out and look at our street. drive it all the way to the end. Look to see how it would be to widen it, how the S-curves would be affected. This morning, a bus almost got hit by a car as they were coming around when I was standing outside getting ready to go. If you'll go take a look, and then take a good look at the intersection. And if possible, do it at a time when drive time is at its heaviest. And that's really all I got to say. Thank you all for your time. Please, go out and take a look before you make a vote.
I have a question for you. Sir, I have a question. The subdivision that you live in on Deerwood,
Yes, ma'am.
was it part of the Scout Farm?
It was part of
Are they the ones
Logsden's
that developed
farm.
that?
There's somebody here that could speak to that better, as to whose property all that belonged to at one point in time, because the area out there is, the Stouts have owned property throughout Mount Washington, as all of you all know. But property is bought and sold all the time, and in our area, I think originally a portion of our subdivision, it was done in two sections. One portion belonged to the Logsden family. I'm thinking, am I correct? No?
It was originally the Stouts.
Was it?
Was that?
Okay.
Okay.
It was the original Stouts development in the late 70s, early 80s.
And how large are your lots?
Our lots are basically 5. They're at least 5. There are 2 that are double lots.
How long have you lived there, Mike?
15 years. Any other questions I can answer? Thank you all so much for your time.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Blackburn. Anyone else? Okay. Are you Dan?
Yeah, Dan.
Oh,
I'm
gotcha.
Dan Brewer.
Uh-huh.
And thank you for your, Reverend, for what you said today. And, you know, I love my neighborhood and I try to love everybody and put that golden rule first. But I'm just, this upsets me because this is going to upset my neighborhood and the people I live around and our place. It's like when we come to that Planning and Zoning Commission on the 11th, it's like a lot of them had confusion with the plot layout that y'all have about where the road is. And I don't feel like Mr. Stouts' attorney, like when they first started talking about it, it was all about that they're going to build this new entrance. You know, it's not going to mess with us. And then by the end of that planning and zoning meeting, Deerwood Drive was going to be the main entrance to that neighborhood. And my thing is, like Mike, is my property, I'm cutting my grass not quite on a 45-degree angle of the road. Our road has been paved, or it's got a new layer of asphalt on it. There's about 8 inches of asphalt that's sticking up. And I'm like this. I don't know, like, what would a curb look like? I mean, if it's gravel, it's just going to wash out on my property. And Mr. Blingwell, you've been to my property and filled my culvert in, and I appreciate that. And Mr. Showalter, you've been there. You bought a dishwasher from me for your son or somebody. So you've seen my property. And I just don't understand how that's going to work on widening our road. And I have no objection to Mr. Stouts building his neighborhood. I just don't want my road to be the main entrance to it and have all that construction and wear and tear on it. I don't think anybody in the Planning and Zoning Committee even come out and looked at our road. And I don't see how you can make a conscious decision for us without doing that. I would like to know from his attorney, or him, like, what is the time limit on your new entrance? You know, because honestly, the way all that other stuff went down, I don't really trust him to be taking care of our road, our shoulder, and him putting in his new road. Who's going to enforce that? Like, if he's supposed to take care of it, who enforces that if there's a problem? I don't think the county will, because he's agreed to it, but how do we do that? Let's see. The slope, all that. I guess, you know, my home, I take care of my yard, my home, try to get it to look good. And I just feel like it's our expense for his gain that he's, with this going to be our road, it's gonna erupt our property a little bit. There's gonna be problems there, and I don't like that. I don't think it's right. As far as the lot sizes, like you've asked that our lots are 5 acres or above, I think it's just gonna cheapen our neighborhood to make them lots back there 3 acres. I wish they would stay at 5. And, you know, the homes that go in there be like our homes. You know, our homes are pretty much brick or siding. And maybe that's already been done in a planning commission, I don't know. But anyways, I guess that's it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dan. Robin?
I just hope that Scout looks and listens to the community when he puts in this new residential area, and that you think ahead for the community and not for yourself.
Thank you. I believe it's Mark. Is it Mark? There you go. Is it Hellyer?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. Just making sure I can.
Right, arthritis. I'm Mark Hellyer. I live at 1107 Deerwood, and my concerns is about the same as everybody else's. The 2 feet of gravel to widen the road to 18 feet. Does the gravel account to making it the correct width, or does it have to be pavement? That's one of my concerns. Another one is if there could be a separate entrance and exit road for construction vehicles only. Because depending on what time of day you come through, you get school buses twice a day, and as everybody mentioned, some of the curves are blind curves, kind of hard to see. It's more of a safety issue. And then you have construction vehicles, and then of course the delivery vans, we know how they drive. So that's our main concern. That's pretty much all I've got as far as that, because I agree with everybody else. I hope y'all take it in consideration, and thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Mark. William Etheridge? Never knew your name was William.
William Anthony, I go by Tony.
I understand that, trust me, Tony.
Yeah. No, I live at 1073 Deerwood Drive. I live next to Mr. Hellyer. And then also my family has a farm that borders this property as well. So, you know, I own part of it, my cousins. We've all had that since homestead days, the farm out there. My main concern, it's not the zoning. I'm actually pleased with the conservation, that it's not R1 like the last track was. My concern is, like I mentioned, is the, you know, I live on Deerwood. Mr. Blimus came out and looked at the road in front of my house and things too. You know, with the last blacktopping, you know, like they mentioned, it's 8 inches to a foot drop off now off of our road into my yard. So my concern there too is the gravel. You know, at the planning and zoning meeting, you know, Mr. Stout got to present his case, then we got to present. Then the 2-foot concession was put in after we talked, then we weren't allowed to talk again. So that's the only reason I'm bringing up the gravel now. Is my concern is there, I don't want the gravel in my yard. You know, I think it should either be blacktop, or if you know, if we're gonna widen the road, widen it. I guess my statement to you all is, if you know, you're over the road department, if you're approving, you know, you're gonna benefit from these additional residents, that the county should be responsible for widening the road. You know, I don't even know if it's Mr. Stout that should be responsible for widening the road, but if you're gonna allow all this additional traffic, you know, the road department should be responsible for widening our road to make it safe. There's an S-curve right in front of Mr. Blackburn's house. It's a pretty sharp S-curve. That's a dangerous curve. You know, there's big drop-offs on each side of it. And there's, you know, my wife ran off the road with a school bus. You know, I'm concerned with the big dump trucks coming in and out. And that's where I agree with the others that, you know, I was really hopeful here. I was excited to see the second entrance. I was really hoping that second entrance would be a restriction for construction traffic, to keep the construction traffic off Deerwood.
And then the last thing I have is, in the last zoning, there was kind of two pieces there that I don't know if it was ever done or not, is I thought there would be like another hearing or something for an approved plat and a traffic study. So I don't know if a traffic study was ever done on Deerwood, just to see if Deerwood can handle, an additional 120 residents on top, or, 120 residents on top of the residents we already have. So that's my concern, is the road. And then, I know I said it was last, but the last thing is coming into Deerwood from Mount Washington, and I know that's in Spencer County, and that's actually a state road, but there's no turning lane there. There's a partial turning lane, and I come from Bardstown a lot, and when you're in that turning lane, there is a turning lane coming from Bardstown. If you're standing in that turning lane to turn into Deerwood, a lot of additional traffic coming through here. If people are pulling off to the side to turn into Deerwood coming from Mount Washington, or, leaving Mount Washington, people shoot around them, and they're gonna end up hitting somebody head-on turning in from Bardstown. So there needs to be a turning lane. I know that's probably not a Bullitt County thing, because that's in Spencer, and that's also part of 31E. But that's a safety concern when more traffic comes through there. But yeah, that's all I have.
Tony, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the first reading public hearing for zoning ordinance 24-11, Stout Farms Brothers Inc. Sure, Dan.
With this, I think it's going to R instead of conservation to residential, or R?
Going to conservation.
Is that, okay. It's agriculture now. Is that just gonna affect his part, or is that gonna affect our existing neighborhood?
It just affects the parcels that he rezoned.
Okay, all right.
Charlie?
Planning docket 2024Z-24, Stout Farm Brothers Incorporated, seeking to rezone from ag to conservation. Located on Deerwood Drive, parcel number 083-000-00-036A, in an unincorporated area of the county. 58.2 acres more or less. Purpose to create a subdivision. Comprehensive plan calls for agriculture. Bullitt County Planning Commission, pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211, held a public hearing on the application on April 11th, 2024. Based upon the testimony heard at the hearing, the Bullitt County Planning Commission finds the map amendment is not in agreement with the community's comprehensive plan, but it will be attached to a larger adjoining tract to be rezoned. Following restrictions were added. Mobile homes will not be permitted. Lots will not be further subdivided into less than 3 acres. Widen existing Deerwood Drive by adding a 2-foot gravel shoulder on each side to bring it to a minimum of 18 feet prior to construction. Maintain Deerwood Drive during the construction process. R1 setbacks will be followed. All homes will meet the regulations for R1 zoning, including lot width, and only single-family dwellings will be allowed. Based upon the testimony received, the Bullitt County Planning Commission recommends the requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Thank you, Charlie. Tammy?
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 24-11. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from agricultural to conservation. Property in question is 58.2 acres, more or less, located at Deerwood Drive, parcel number 083-000-00-036A, in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission, in docket number 2024Z-24, is hereby changed from agricultural to conservation. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 7th day of May 2024, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 21st day of May 2024.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone here to speak for zoning ordinance 24-11, Stout Farm Brothers, Inc.? Okay.
This is a smaller track. I will indicate or tell the management, probably already knows, that at the end of the day, we're looking at a 90-some acre track and possibly 30 lots. And another track is not going to be populated either. So you may add out of the whole thing end up with 45 home sites, maybe less, maybe a few more. But our testimony would be the same on this one as it was on the previous one.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Thank you all. Anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 24-11, Stout Farm Brothers, Inc.? Okay, Michael, thank you. Okay, the interlocal agreement with the Bullitt County Schools for North Bullitt High School and Lebanon Junction Elementary, the paving.
I make a motion that we approve the interlocking agreement with the Bullitt County Schools, North Bullitt High School, and Lebanon Junction Elementary School.
Second.
Got a motion by First District Magistrate Sanders, a second by Fourth District Magistrate Blemmel to approve the interlocal agreements with the Bullitt County Public Schools for North Bullitt High School and the Lebanon Junction Elementary paving. Sam, call the roll, please.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blemmel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders? Yes. Motion carried.
We'd like to have permission to pay and cut the checks for the cleanup day workers for June 1st, 2024 and June 22nd of 2024. I'll put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second.
Got a second by Third District Magistrate Johnson. Sam, call the roll, please.
Blemmel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And I'm going to put this in the form of a motion to reappoint Ed Dunnigan Jr. to the Zonton Fire Department. Term to expire June 30th of 2027. Mr. Dunnigan has been really active with the Zonton Fire Department, and it's a good breath of fresh air for the leadership. I'm putting that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Got a second by Fourth District Magistrate Blemmel. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blemmel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
There you go. Tony and Dave and your guests from Hardin County, the agreement with the Hardin County Animal Control to present and to, if the magistrates have questions.
All right. We're just here renewing with Hardin County on our vetting. Don't know if y'all have any questions. I brought those guys in today, just if y'all do have any questions. We have kind of consulted most of our local vets to see where we could go with this issue. None of the price point is gonna meet these guys, unfortunately. So this is where we're at with that. The biggest thing is too is standing appointments. You have to schedule with a local vet, you're looking at 2-3 weeks out. We can't wait that long. We wanna move the dogs in and out as fast as we can. These guys have standing appointments for us every week. We don't have any questions to ask. So this is why we wanna renew the contract.
Okay.
Tony, but we got some new magistrates, of course, up here from the last time. Can you explain just kind of briefly, the relationship between you and Hardin County and what's going on right now?
Yeah, Mike could probably explain it better than I can. This is Mike, he's the director of Hardin County Animal Control Care.
How do you do? We have a full-time vet on staff, and what we try to do, if we spay and neuter and we fix every problem in Hardin County, the surrounding counties' animals are still gonna come to us. So what I do is I price it so that you all can afford it, and I do my best to only work with municipalities to get spay and neuter done. Because at the end of the day, and 37 years that I've been doing this, you can't euthanize your way out of the animal overpopulation. The only thing you can do is spay and neuter. Your all's visits, you know, with the exception of when my vet goes on vacation, are set in stone. And we have a great working relationship with you all. We do a little bit more than spay and neuter for you all. When you all need something extra, we try and help any way we can. I'm also the president of the Kentucky Animal Care and Control Association. What I would like to see us do is move Kentucky forward when it comes to how we treat our animals as opposed to going backwards. Right now, I've got a contract with you guys. We have a contract with LaRue County. I basically try to contract with all the counties that surround me. And if I get all those problems fixed, I'm going to grow it out in circles as far as I can to where we don't have an animal overpopulation anywhere close to us. Okay. That's what my hope is. I don't know that you know, I've got two vets, one full-time and one that comes in on Wednesdays. And I kind of have to have that vet come in on Wednesdays to reserve her for when he goes on vacation. Because we take in significantly more animals than what Bullitt County does. But y'all got a great group going here. I think we got a great partnership. We want to keep it going, but you know, in the end, we just want to do what y'all think's best. If y'all have a vet here in town that y'all could save money with, I would definitely be the first one to encourage you to do so. But I already know that some places are wanting $400 to spay a female dog. Mm-hmm. There's no way an animal control or a reputable rescue can afford to pay $400 to spay a dog. Right. So, any other questions?
I have a question. How many dogs do the Bullitt County Animal Shelter here in Bullitt County bring to you a week?
We have, I think, what, 10 open spots with you guys a week?
Yeah.
10 open spots, so we could,
So you take 10 a week?
not technically 10. I mean, some weeks it might be less, some weeks it could be possibly a little more, but usually it's anywhere between about 5 and 10.
This is factory dogs and cats.
Yes, factory dogs and cats.
I know I went back the last 6 months and we've spent anywhere from $2,000 to $3,500 a month to the animal shelter. And that kind of opened my eyes that I did not realize we were spending that kind of money.
When we moved from Shepherdsville Animal Hospital to Hardin County, and this is before Shepherdsville Animal Hospital reduced their rescue pricing, or eliminated their rescue pricing, we were paying $14,600 more than what we're paying with Hardin County. And that was each fiscal year.
And that was with the rescue pricing.
Yes, that was with the rescue pricing that
Which
they
now it's gone
recently
up.
took away, yes.
I know that was one of the big reasons that we made the decision. You all came in and it might be new to some of the magistrates, but I remember the presentation you all put together when we made this decision to go into this partnership, and it was really mind-blowing to see those numbers. And I'm sometimes a believer in sometimes no news is good news, and I've been amazed. The lack of calls that I've received or complaints, regarding the animal shelter since the partnership's been in place. I know I've visited your place multiple times. I've never been to Hardin County. I'd like to maybe stop in there and check it out sometime, but I know I really embraced the idea of that regional concept when you guys kind of pitched that the first time we made that decision.
The deputy executive, or judge executive, but he had a different title from Daviess County, came in last week and he spent 4 hours with us. You all are all welcome to come. Just let me know when. I will let you tour the facility. I'll take you and show you how we do everything. What I will tell you is, just because Hardin County does it, doesn't mean it's 100% right for Bullitt County. Bullitt County's got to find its own way.
Right.
Some of our ideas may work, some of our ideas may not. That's what I did out there. I actually come from Kentucky Humane Society. I worked there 27 years. So I helped start the SNP clinic, the spay and neuter clinic that's been going on there for however long. And one of the things I realized is they were burning through their vets in 2 years. So I was having to hire a vet every 2 years, because when you do spay and neuter, you can make money. If you sit there and treat it like an assembly line and let the vet move from animal to animal to animal, you can do 40 or 50 animals a day. And with the rates they're charging, it can be very lucrative. That's not what I'm looking for with what I'm doing. I'm looking to maintain my vet. That's why I won't let him do more than 15 surgeries a day, even though I know he can do double. I want to keep him there, and I want to build something. I want to build something for, not just for us, but I'd love to have a spay and neuter clinic that services all the counties around us eventually. And essentially, we're doing that now, but I need it to be bigger because the problem's not gonna go away. I mean, animals are here to stay. You know, there are some places where if your dog runs loose, they won't adopt to you, and I disagree with that. I know that the worst dog owner, if they want a dog, they're gonna go find a dog. And it's my job to put a spayed or neutered animal into their hands so they're not reproducing in my county. I can levy them with citations and everything after the fact, but as long as I'm doing my job and putting a spayed and neuter animal in their hand, my population's not going up. You all are all welcome to stop by anytime you want to. Just give me a call and I'll walk you through. I'll show you everything I got. Everything I got, you can come and see.
Okay.
And our agreement, is that a 12-month agreement? Is that right? Is that?
2 years.
2 years.
2
Yes.
years.
And the only thing that's changed since the last time, I think, was the price point index. I
The
think.
the CPI.
And
which
it's something
is-
they have to change on a basis, but our prices all stay the same.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, we put confidence in you all. I'm gonna go ahead and just put that in the form of a motion that we accept the agreement with Hardin County Animal Control as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by Second District Magistrate Logston, a second by Fourth District Magistrate Wilmore to accept the agreement with the Hardin County Animal Control. Sam, call the roll, please.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Leamle?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all. Thanks for coming over.
And thank you all from coming from Hardin County up here. And I think some of us definitely may take you up on it. We're really excited about the new animal control facility that we're building, and I know.
Yep.
Just so you know, I've worked with y'all, this particular shelter for over 25 years. I was one of the guys that came out and helped with euthanasia when you lost that person years ago. I was the guy from Kentucky Humane that came out here. So my history with the Bullitt County Animal Shelter is 25 years long. These are the two best guys I've seen out there since. I mean, their goals and their objectives are where they should be. And
Yep.
that's just my opinion. So, thank you.
We agree. Thank you, sir. We have new hires, Chris and Janice, or Rebecca. It's pouring.
Rain, rain, rain.
It's really raining.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Y'all ready to get out of here and go enjoy the weather?
Yeah.
Go with the weather.
So as y'all have in front of you, we have 5 new hires on the agenda. 1 advanced EMT, full-time, 3 full-time EMTs, and 1 full-time paramedic. I believe Janice sent over the list of what we've lost. Just in May, 3 paramedics full-time, and then last month we lost an EMT full-time. The month before that, we lost 2 paramedics, 2 EMTs, 1 advanced. So again, it's just an ebb and flow. People come and go. We just have to maintain what we're doing.
I have a question on one of those EMTs. You have them starting out only at $9.50.
It's probably a typo. It'll be $19.50.
Yeah, there's a typo. Thank you, Vera.
And also, so far, we've had about 22 people who lived there since January. That's
Yep.
a lot of people.
Yep.
Do you know why we're losing so many?
Not positive. I know the last 3 paramedics that left, or 2 of the last 3 paramedics that left, they had an issue with how the sick time and the vacation time is used. That's county policy we can't change. They were concerned with if they take a sick day, and then work an extra shift and they don't get paid for the overtime, they just get regular pay. And as far as I know, that's how the law works, is you're paid regular. They said Hardin County pays them for their overtime. I don't know, but.
Can you say that again, because since that is a county policy, so if somebody, explain what you just said again.
So if you work overtime, and Janice can probably explain it better.
So this is our current policy, is that what?
Right, so the way that I had understood from what the people were saying was they had called in and they wanted a sick day, but they picked up an extra shift, so they thought they would get paid for their sick time plus the extra shift? but that's not how that works.
So I'm sick, I call in, I say I'm sick, I'm not feeling good, but then I pick up an extra shift, like.
That
how
cancels
far-
out sick time.
A couple days later, I pick up an extra shift.
Yep.
But so some places count that sick time as you were actually working, and now that's overtime by picking up, is that what you're saying?
Or even if it's not just overtime, it's just they got paid sick time plus they picked up the extra shift. You see what I'm saying? Even if it wasn't counted as over, I don't know how Hardin County is.
No, I don't know, I really don't
Yeah.
understand it. So if I call in sick, I get paid for my sick, I get paid. I use one of my sick days.
Right.
And then I pick up an extra shift. And I guess,
Get
so if I work a
straight
12-hour.
time.
Straight.
If you do that, you get straight time.
Right.
Where some places may pay time and a half.
Correct. Like I said, I don't know the
Yeah,
other
so
counties.
you're making,
You have
working
to work
12 hours, you
40
get an extra
hours.
shift. I would think okay. I don't, what is most places? What do most places do then?
I mean, it just depends on, it's a lot of some EMS services, they're union or they have contracts or something in place. Usually that's,
For what it's worth, I have never worked any place that it didn't go back to straight time.
right.
Ever.
But there are,
Because you're sick, you're lucky you're getting paid for being sick.
right.
And then you pick up another shift, it's like starting over again. But in this case, you're saying these individuals expected that sick time was hours accrued, and then they added on time, so they should get time and a half for that extra.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And part of the reason why places that I've worked have it set up that way is so that you can't work the system. And, you take a sick day and then you work a little extra so you get more overtime that way.
Yeah, that was my question would be, does it happen that often where that's a big concern for somebody to leave, a career or a job?
This is the first time that,
we've heard of that.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
And we
So
have.
that's obviously not a problem that's keeping employees there, it's maybe an isolated incident here.
Right, yeah, and again, on that very last page that I send you all, reasons for why people are leaving, and those two that left, they're not really left, they stepped down to part-time. So a lot of our people have stepped down to part-time, they're still on our payroll, they're just part-time status now, so we still have them as employees, but.
It just, when you said county policy, I just wanted to make sure when we are losing so many people, it wasn't something we need to reevaluate to stay in line with other counties or other competitors in that particular field, but it sounds like that's very isolated in that case.
Yeah, that's the first time I'd actually heard someone actually say that was the reason for them.
But I could see where somebody could game the system that way. How many sick days do you typically get as a?
Per year, you accrue 8 hours a month, so it's 96 a year,
Okay.
so, and then that, you carry it over for every year.
Yeah, so you could at least do it once a month, I guess you could.
Technically, you could.
Are any of these being hired as full-time or any of them part-time workers presently? Or are these all new employees?
Oh, no, these are all new.
They're all new?
Yeah.
Canyon used to work for us.
Actually, well, yeah.
And so did,
So did Ryan Clark worked for us before, Kane's coming back, and Nick Green, he did work a very small stint, but he's coming back too, so he didn't actually, yeah, so.
And also on your part-time workers, do y'all schedule them every week?
No, negative. They let me know when they're available to work, and then I plug them into spots that we have open. Or the other option, because some folks know what their schedule looks like, so they know what days they're gonna be available, they send those to me and I use them accordingly. Others will self-schedule. Our system has a section that they can look online, they can put themselves available for that day, and then we go in and we move them over and put them on the schedule where we have an open spot.
So the 30 part-time workers you all have, on average, how many of them work per week?
Per week? So, depending on the shift, I mean, it's kind of hard to game that. Per shift, we might have one or two. Some shifts, we have more spots open. Right now, we've got quite a few spots open at night, so we've got quite a few part-timers that fill in into those slots. So, during the day, it may be one or two a shift at most. Then at night, probably 3 or 4, depending on the day.
And we do require the part-time people at EMS to work at least 2 shifts per month. So, and if they don't fulfill that requirement, then they are let go the
They'll
next
just
month.
take them off.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I think it's very important that we do have a full staff.
Oh, we're working on it. Trust me, we think find it important as well.
However, I'd just like to know what the issue is, why it's a swinging door.
So we've
If
had.
you can figure that out, let the nation
It
know.
just,
Yeah,
you know,
it's across the board. Part of the problem is everybody in EMS is hurting for staff. So it is extremely easy for anyone to see the grass is greener at another department and go try that one out. And if that one doesn't work out the way they think it does, then they can go to another one, they can go to another one. The generation that we have coming into our systems right now, they don't work a job for 20 years anymore. That's just not the world that we live in. So most typically across the nation, departments are keeping employees for 2 to 5 years max, and that's it. EMS doesn't have a lot of positions that allow for growth and for movement. We have limited numbers of supervisory positions, of command staff positions. So once you get, I mean, you can go from your EMT to your advanced to your paramedic, and that's about as far as folks can go in a single department. So they start looking at other things that make other departments better, whether that's better benefits or sometimes it's even better uniforms. I mean, they get really nitpicky about little things and, you know, or they want to work 24-hour shifts, or they don't want to work 24-hour shifts. That causes people to move to other departments too. There are a lot of factors that will draw people to another department. Like I said, 2 to 5 years across the nation is about the most anybody's getting out of an employee.
and the 10 that we pay for to go to the schooling for EMT, how many of them are still with you all?
5? I believe it's 5 or 6.
I think it's 6.
Okay.
I think
it's
we have 6.
Yeah.
The ones that came on are still on. We have not lost any of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, they're still there. I believe the other 4, they're continuing to try to pass their national registry exam. So
Yeah.
until they get that done, they can't have a job with us, so.
It's gotta be such a hard thing, you know, you go through the classrooms and you learn, but
Yeah.
until you get out there in the field and see and understand.
Oh, yeah.
Before we move on this, I just had something on my mind, and I may be right, I may be wrong, you might be able to disclose some information, you may not be able to disclose, but wasn't there an incident this weekend, I think, with a little 3-month-old?
Yesterday, actually.
Is there any positive news or bad news?
Facebook said, I believe that aunt on Facebook said that the baby is alive and doing well.
Okay. And that was like a transport from like LJ, is that right, or
Yep.
something?
Yep.
There was a 3-month-old baby, it's not Marty may know more about it, but it was kind of, I read briefly a little bit of it, and I was just kind of concerned, wondering what was going on, because I think y'all had an escort or something there, and it kind of cleared 65 and raised a lot of eyebrows, you know, so I was kind of curious what was going on, and maybe if y'all knew the status of that.
Yep. Like I said, Facebook said
Yeah.
the aunt posted.
I know you can't share some HIPAA law and different things, but I just, it was kind of weighing on me and stuff.
And I do appreciate all that y'all do for the county.
But that right there in itself, you know, you can go through a classroom, you can learn stuff, and I couldn't imagine, you know, there's no classroom that teaches you, puts you in front of something like that, so, you know, what you all do every day, and even the sheriff's department, well, I mean, it's just, it's unreal, you know, probably what you see, so, I mean, I applaud you. It is hard, and we have to, you know, try to figure out if there's things that we can do, that's why when you said county policy, I just wanna make sure there's nothing, because we do want to try to close that revolving door regardless of what's going on nationally as much as we can, and give you the tools to keep people and retain them, because I can't imagine the cost of just somebody coming on board and spending all that time training them, getting up to speed, and then they leave, you know, and then it's back to, you know, it's just, you know, it's gotta be exhausting, so we're here to try to, you know, and I think we've tried to do that for every department, is provide within the budget, you know, what we can do reasonably, and yeah, it's just, I couldn't imagine, I couldn't do it. I mean, so thank you all, and
It is something that we are actively working on constantly. We're trying to figure out what we can be doing better across the board. We reach out to our people constantly to try and figure out where, you know, what their concerns are, if there's something that we can improve, something that we can change. So it's
definitely something that we are extremely dedicated to.
Okay.
Just let us know.
And not making a new proposal, this will be something that we discuss later on, but I think to help with the sick time, to make an incentive better for sick time is cap it out instead of letting that roll over into vacation like we currently do. After they reach a certain number, the 1st of December, the county cuts them a check for unused sick time because they get to keep their vacation time anyway. But you're cutting them a check for, if they cap out at 200 and they have 300 hours, you cut them a check for 100 hours. It's a bonus for Christmas time, and it incentivizes them not to use their sick time throughout the year.
Okay.
So if they take a vacation and go in and work, do they?
That is not allowed by county policy. You can't
Good.
take a vacation and
Can I answer
work.
something? I don't,
Sick time, we have a sick program for retirement.
Right.
We can accumulate an unlimited amount of sick time. And when they retire, we pay up to 6 months of our sick leave towards that retirement. That's the incentive of not using sick leave.
Right, but who's making it to retirement these days?
That's the incentive.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the challenge that we face, because these 20-year-olds that are coming into our system have zero intention of being here in 20 years. You know, and so we're looking for things that address their concerns more immediately.
that's interesting though. Are you aware of any other areas or counties or anything?
Lexington Fire does that, or they used to. I'm not sure if they still do. They're a private organization, so I'm not entirely sure how that works. And they're union-based, so they may have different rules and regulations, but that's the only department that I'm aware of that does it.
Do you think hazardous duty pay would make a difference?
No.
Not in today's world. If they change the way that works back to the Tier 1 system, then it absolutely would, but I don't think it'll make a big difference.
I should probably know the answer to this, but then I'll ask the question. If I voluntarily leave, if I'm an employee and I voluntarily leave, am I entitled to my sick pay?
No, you get
If I
your
quit,
vacation pay.
if I quit, do I get my sick pay?
No.
You don't?
You
Okay.
get your
vacation cashed out, though.
You get your vacation, but not your sick. So if you were let go, terminated, are you entitled to your sick pay?
No.
So the only way you're entitled to your sick pay is upon retirement?
Or use it.
Sick day.
Or if you use it.
Or use a sick day, or use it, but if you don't use it, you lose
You just
it,
basically
unless
lose
you
it.
retire. Is that right?
That's correct.
And really, that's the only retirement they come up for.
Yeah, yeah. But I'd also, I 100% believe that, but I 100% agree with what you're saying now. There's nobody probably anticipating. I do see this new generation as a 2 to 5 years and not thinking about retirement, so. But it's an insurance policy, you know, also too. You pay your insurance and insurance companies make money and hope they don't cash it out, and that's the thing. You cure this and there's chances are a lot of people aren't gonna make it to that retirement point. So I was just kinda curious. I didn't know specifically. It's interesting, but I don't know. There had to be really some hard numbers ran to see what the cost, because that cost could be astronomical, you know, if you're cutting a check for everybody for their unused sick time, and in hindsight, knowing that they may not ever, you know, benefit from that otherwise. So,
Right. And when we run those numbers, we have to look at the amount of overtime we're paying to fill when they do use that sick time, because we're paying them at the regular rate plus somebody else at overtime to fill their spot and all that, so.
Yeah, that's interesting. That'd be probably some hard data, but yeah, so anytime somebody calls in sick, typically you're calling somebody in, obviously it's already worked their shift, so they're paying overtime.
It's honestly one of the things that I flag when we have an employee that's on an earn and burn, we call it. As soon as they get it, they take a day. Because frequently it's the first tip-off I have that they're probably leaving.
Okay.
Before they
As
turn
soon as they
into
earn
us.
it, boom, they use it.
Oh, yeah. We have those. Because they're trying to get the benefit of having sick time before they walk out the door.
I think Walt had a question, and Faith, you had one there.
It was more a comment, and it's just, this whole thing, retirement is a thing of the past.
Yeah.
We're running into it, you run into it in the law enforcement, you run into it in public service in general, run into it in law offices. The level of education isn't a big factor in it anymore, and thinking outside, trying to think outside whatever the box is, and the problem is trying to figure out how big or small or size so if there are gurus out there, or places that, whether it be a day long, or week long, or whatever, of looking at, of sitting down and studying current and future employment practices to get good folks, we all would be well served to put effort into going and trying to learn what's here and what's coming, because it's changing consistently. And mind you, the day of when I started out as county attorney, the policy was 1990. Policy was, you come to work here, you get paid. Didn't even pay hourly, paid a salary to everybody. If you're sick, go home, take care. Well, then they started finding that people they took off every other Friday. They were sick. Well, then so we started, you gotta have a doctor's note or you don't get paid for the day. Well, that changed things. Well, and so, but the idea, a lot of private businesses have now gone to, they don't have sick time, they don't have vacation time, they don't have this or that, they have paid days off. And it's all lumped into one thing, and they set what it is, and somebody gets it, or they get paid for it at the end of the year. And the only trouble you run into there is that if somebody is sick, really sick, I don't want them to come in, because I don't want them to take and infect the rest of my workforce. But, so, I wish I had a good answer, because we run into the same thing. And how you get people that are gonna be here for the long haul, that are dedicated. I come and I want everybody to be as in love with Bullitt County as I am. Well, those days are generally over.
They're gone. Okay, thank you, Walt.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you've got to think about the people that are dedicated to the job.
Absolutely.
And there might be a happy medium to find those that have some type of tenure, if something ever was changed, I don't even know if you can change it with being county government or anything. I don't know what can be done, cannot be done, but he just posed really a real good question when he brought up the idea about county policy, and it just brings a red flag to me to okay, if policy's inflicting somebody to make a move, let's look at the policy and just make sure that it needs to stay like it is, or there could be a potential change to it. But I think Walt brings up a great point too, that there could be possibilities of some other type of thing out there if it's legal, I don't know. But we do have to continue to think about this new generation of people coming up, and how do we attract them, and how do we retain them, and not just stick with doing things like we've done it for 50 years or whatever it may be.
Yeah, of course, their retirement has changed. Like when I retired, I was like here, going, whatever. Now it's like a whole different retirement, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's not.
We got a motion on the floor.
Years of service.
Yeah.
You all and the school system and the politics.
Like if you start today, you're in tier 3 status.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. I'm gonna make a motion to hire the new hires.
Robin has something.
I just want to ask, maybe you can update us in your next meeting about the children in the school system that we're educating into the program.
Oh, sure.
And see how that's working out. The new graduates for the year, are any of those getting involved, and is there mentorship from you all to them?
And we offered them a job as soon as they get their Kentucky numbers also, so.
Yeah.
And I think you said we got 6 out of 10 maybe that are working with us.
That was
the other program.
Okay.
This is the one with the.
We got 9.
public school system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We got 9 out of the school system that's
Yes.
working. So,
But yeah, we'll put a presentation.
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna make the motion to hire Ryan Clark, full-time EMT, 21 EMT advanced, 21.50 an hour. Chloe Richard, full-time EMT at 19.50. Isaac Little, a full-time EMT at 19.50. Canyon Miser at 19.50 per hour, and Nicholas Green, a full-time paramedic at $27 an hour, all effective, one on the 14th, Richard, the rest of them's all
That's
effective on
typo,
the
it's all
15th.
5:15, sorry.
All of them then at 5/15/2024. Got a second by 4th District Magistrate Blamel. Sam, call a roll, please.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Leamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Thank you. Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next one is Animal Control. Lana Davis is a part-time kennel attendant, $14.25 an hour, effective 5/23/24.
I'll second.
Got a second by Magistrate Logston. Any other discussion, members? Hearing none. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson?
Yes.
Leamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. At this time, Vera, any comments, questions?
The
Yeah.
other thing, I have a couple of people in my district that are here, and they have a question about the S&S concrete.
Uh-huh.
The big piles of rock and dirt is still there. Do you know what the status is on that?
Charlie, and there you go.
Part of that, he's supposed to be moving operate this, second floor, he received a notice of violation.
Violation, right. Yep.
I haven't dug into that yet, but I know that it's Thursday.
So he did get a violation from the state?
Yep.
Thank you.
For the stream. Is that fair enough, Pat? Is that fair enough? Okay. Yeah, I promised you, I guess it's your wife. It's over at City Hall, or your, whatever. Okay. Yeah, got it. Thank you, Vera. Sean?
No, I don't have anything today to add. I appreciate everybody coming out.
Karen?
Yes, I need to let everybody know we're having, or the state road department is having a hearing on Thursday, May 9th at Hebron Middle School from 5 to 7 concerning East Blue Lick Road.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but the road department's doing a good job over in Zolton and getting all of the ridge construction and the areas around it cleaned up, so I guess that's all I have.
Okay, Brian?
No, sir, have nothing today.
I'd just like to remind everybody about the Mount Washington Spring Festival this weekend, the 10th and the 11th. I want to thank Councilwoman Faith Portman for attending today, and Teresa Preston as well, and I saw that she just exited a little while ago. But other than that, y'all have a great weekend, and Vera, what time is it, please?
Time is 11:05, time to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion to adjourn by 1st District Magistrate Sanders, a second by 4th District Magistrate Blamel. Sam, call the roll, please.
Leamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.